The headlines dropped, the timelines went entirely silent. In an instant, the ultimate K-drama romance became a real-life heartbreak, and like the entire K-pop world was turned completely upside down.
Join Eric and Minji as they ride the Hallyu wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates. From internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
Welcome to this deep dive. If you woke up today with a pit in your stomach after reading those agency statements, you are definitely not alone. I mean, we're processing this right alongside you. Because on July 10th, 2026, the absolute royalty of the Korean entertainment industry, IU and Lee Jong Suk, officially ended their 4-year relationship.
Right, and the shockwaves are just, still rippling across the internet.
Exactly. So to understand what happened, and more importantly, why it feels so devastating, we've gathered a stack of sources for you. We have breaking news reports from Soompi, Dispatch, Koreaboo, and Chosunbiz, but we're also going to look at this through a psychological lens.
Yeah, we found this brilliant 2024 academic paper by researcher Yachting Lon on the complex relationships between fans and idols. So we're getting into the timeline, the hidden clues, and the profound psychological impact this breakup is having on the fandom.
Because it is, frankly, a massive amount to process. When those simultaneous agency statements hit the internet, the collective gasp from international fans and K-nuts alike was genuinely deafening.
It really was. You read the headlines and your brain just sort of rejects it at first because this, it felt like an institution, not just a relationship.
It did. And the way it was announced was so jarringly clinical compared to the history they share. We're talking about 4 years of public dating and 14 years of total history together.
And it just ends with a pair of incredibly brief, polite agency statements like Edom Entertainment for IU and Ace Factory for Lee Jong Suk basically just confirmed on July 10th, quote, "It is true that they broke up."
Yeah, and they added that they've decided to remain good senior-junior colleagues, which is just, well, it's brutal. And the reason given. The classic, heavily manufactured, industry-standard explanation of, quote, busy schedules.
Ugh, which is just the ultimate illusion shatterer. As a fan, you invest so much emotion into their story because their story is genuinely legendary. I mean, it wasn't just a sudden hookup.
No, not at all. It was the ultimate enemies-to-lovers trope brought to life. If you go back to 2012, they met co-hosting SBS's Inkigayo.
Right, they were both these incredibly young, rising stars with top-tier visuals, just trying to make their mark. But they actually clashed back then.
They really did. On the variety show Hwasun in 2013, Lee Jong Suk actually admitted that they didn't always see eye to eye.
Yeah, IU was always pitching these highly ambitious, sometimes eccentric makeup ideas for their hosting gigs, like dressing up as Peter Pan or a snowman.
Oh, wow, I completely forgot about the snowman outfit.
Right. And he found it genuinely annoying at the time because it just wasn't his style at all. But they actually took the time to clear the air. They worked through that initial friction and became incredibly close friends for a whole decade.
It's the kind of slow burn romance that fans absolutely live for because it feels earned.
It felt incredibly earned, and that is what made the magical reveal in 2022 so impactful. The timeline of how that unfolded is just crucial.
Yeah, you had Dispatch doing what Dispatch does, breaking the news of their quiet Christmas trip to a luxury resort in Nagoya, Japan.
But right around that exact same time, at the 2022 MBC Drama Awards, Lee Jong Suk wins the grand prize. The Dae-sang for his incredible role in Big Mouth.
And he stands up there on stage with the entire industry watching, and instead of just thanking his agency or his director, he delivers this incredibly vulnerable confession.
I still get chills thinking about it. He said, "There was someone who helped me gain a positive outlook and direction. I want to tell you that I've liked you deeply for a very long time."
Just absolute chills. You could hear a pin drop, and then the entire fandom was screaming. It was so incredibly romantic.
Especially considering how respectfully they navigated their public relationship afterward. They were the definition of mature power couple. You never saw them posting flashy, performative couples photos on Instagram to prove they were together.
Right. They just quietly existed as this stabilizing force in each other's highly chaotic lives, which makes the busy schedules excuse feel completely hollow.
It really does. Watching their 14-year arc feels exactly like watching a classic 16-episode K-drama.
Exactly. You know the formula. The leads bicker in the early episodes, they become best friends, they weather the brutal storms of the entertainment industry, and they finally get together in episode 15. The fans are cheering, the ratings are an all-kill.
Yeah, but then it's like episode 16 is just a poorly written press release. I think that's why fans are struggling so much.
For sure. When two people have known each other for 14 years, you assume their bond is completely unbreakable by something as mundane as a calendar conflict. Why does that reason always feel like a plot hole to fans who have invested so heavily in their story?
Because it contradicts the entire depth of the narrative the fandom has constructed. We project our own desires for a perfect, enduring love onto these two. So when the harsh reality of the entertainment industry finally fractures that bond, it feels like a betrayal of the script we all implicitly agreed upon. We don't want to believe that logistics can kill true love.
But did the couple actually leave a trail of breadcrumbs before the official announcement? Wait till you hear what netizens uncovered next, because it completely changes the context of this breakup.
And if you love staying updated on your biases and all the KT, make sure you're subscribed to Starscoop K Report. We've got even bigger scoops ahead.
So fans are not buying the busy schedules line. Knets and international fans are currently going back through the archives.
Right. They're piecing together moments from the past few months that suddenly look like massive warning signs.
Yeah, the timeline shows that breakup rumors actually first surfaced in May 2025 and then flared up again heavily in May 2026. The trigger was that IU was spotted having a birthday meal with her friends, and Lee Jong Suk was noticeably absent.
And in the K-pop world, absence speaks volumes. But the most fascinating piece of this puzzle is Lee Jong Suk's Instagram activity.
Oh, the beach trip post.
Exactly. About a month before the official breakup announcement, he posted photos from an overseas beach trip with his friends. You see the resort pool, the golden hour sunset shots. It looks like a standard getaway.
But the detail that has netizens absolutely spiraling is the music he deliberately attached to the post. It wasn't just a trendy TikTok audio.
No, far from it. He chose Justin Hurwitz's song Planetarium from the La La Land original soundtrack.
Oh, wow. For anyone who knows the emotional arc of that movie, that is a huge red flag.
Right. That specific song plays during the iconic Griffith Observatory Waltz. It is the absolute peak moment of pure happiness for the two leads, right before their massive career ambitions, and, ironically, their busy schedules tear them apart. Knets are convinced this was his way of publicly processing the end of the relationship.
That is just heartbreaking, and it brings up such a fascinating point about how idols have to communicate. Because of strict NDAs and extreme image management, they can't just post an apology saying, hey guys, my heart is broken.
Yeah, they are forced to speak in code. They use soundtracks, book quotes, or specific clothing brands to signal their true emotional state to the fans who are paying close enough attention.
And he wasn't the only one speaking in code. IU was also dropping heavy hints, seemingly related to her own evolving philosophy on love.
Definitely. She recently wrapped filming and has been heavily promoting her Netflix drama Perfect Crown with Byun Woo Suk.
Right, and during these promotions, a couple of specific clips started going absolutely viral on Twitter and TikTok. First, there was her appearance on her best friend Yuina's show.
Yeah, they got into this surprisingly deep discussion about thoughtless partners. And IU specifically mentioned how incredibly draining she thought that dynamic would be.
Yuina even jokingly suggested IU should pick a thoughtless partner because she naturally takes care of people so much. Fans immediately started overanalyzing the weight behind IU's response.
And then the clues got even more direct. There was a behind-the-scenes vlog posted on IU's official YouTube channel. She was talking about a highly emotional scene for her character, Seong Hee-ju.
Right, where the character has to swallow her pride to save the prince she loves.
Exactly. And in the middle of explaining her character's motivation, IU steps out of character and states her own personal philosophy. She says, quote, "Love is not about wanting to be recognized."
Hey, let's pause and really think about that. Love is not about wanting to be recognized. That feels like a direct contrast to Lee Jong Suk's very public grandiose confession.
It is devastating in hindsight. She literally elaborated by saying, if you truly love someone, you don't keep talking about love like that. Fans see this as her reflecting on a relationship that perhaps started to feel suffocating.
Like, the sheer weight of public expectations was just too much. It's such a sharp contrast to the Lee Jong Suk we saw just a year ago.
Oh, 100%. Because just a year ago, this guy was the ultimate, unabashedly supportive boyfriend.
He really was. He was regularly spotted out wearing IU's highly exclusive limited edition concert merch. The specific hats and phone grips that only the most dedicated fans managed to get.
He was right there in the audience cheering her on at her 2024 solo concerts, and he showed up again for her World Tour Encore concerts.
Going from that highly visible pillar of support to the silence of a solo beach trip playing the La La Land soundtrack, it is the literal timeline of a romance fading out.
And that contrast is why the fandom heartbreak is so severe right now. It hurts the fans as if the breakup happened to them personally.
And that's not even the wildest part of this deep dive. Later, we'll talk about a shocking psychological theory that explains exactly why this specific breakup hurts fans so much.
Yeah, that intense feeling of betrayal fans are experiencing right now isn't just an overreaction. There's actually a fascinating psychological mechanism behind it.
Which brings us to the academic paper we are using to decode this entire situation. It's a 2024 paper by Yading Lan titled Construction, Control, and Identification: The Generation Mechanism of Para-Intimate Relationships Between Idols and Fans.
This paper is brilliant because it finally introduces serious theories about intimate relationships into fandom studies. It doesn't treat fans like they're crazy, you know?
Right. It treats their emotions as valid. Lan explains that with the rapid development of digital media, and in our current era of what she calls social atomization, where modern society leaves people feeling increasingly isolated, fans and idols are forming para-intimate relationships.
Basically, modern life is lonely, and K-pop steps into that void. Lan argues that fans aren't just passively listening on Spotify, they act as prosumers.
A mix of producer and consumer. They are producing texts, organizing streaming parties, and actively constructing relations.
Exactly. The paper notes that fans construct highly specific roles for their idols. It's not just like, I like their music. It's, this idol fills the psychological role of an ideal partner or a protective sibling.
And it's very much a two-way street, which Lan explains using the actor-partner interdependence model, or APM.
It sounds academic, but it's simple. It means that in a relationship, the actions and emotions of one person directly dictate the actions and emotions of the other.
Right. Fans invest massive amounts of time, money, and emotion. Think about paid messaging apps like SM Entertainment's Bubble or Weverse DMs. Fans are literally paying a monthly subscription to receive goodnight messages directly to their phones.
Exactly. The idol is performing continuous emotional labor to maintain that connection, and in return, the fan is providing massive material support. They maintain this highly volatile digital relationship together.
Okay, this makes sense, but I have to ask. If a fan's para-intimate relationship is specifically with the idol, why does the idol's real-life breakup with another celebrity cause the fandom so much collective grief? Shouldn't fans be secretly happy she's single?
That is the million-dollar question. And Lan's paper addresses this through the concept of collective identification.
Oh, interesting. How does that work?
Well, when two titans like IU and Lee Jong Suk get together, it transcends the individual para-intimate relationship. The entire fandom collectively invests in their romance as a shared, idealized fantasy.
They become the blueprint for perfect love in an industry that is notoriously toxic to romantic relationships.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The fans build an entire supportive community around this perfect couple. So when they break up, it completely fractures the shared fantasy of the entire fandom.
It reminds fans of the harsh reality outside the K-pop bubble. Real-life relationships actually fail, even for people who seem perfectly matched.
And that is why the grief is so palpable online right now. It's the moment the grand illusion breaks.
But, as we know all too well, the Hallyu machine never stops. It's jarring how fast these idols have to pivot. Let's look at what is next for both of these artists. IU recently concluded her massive HER World Tour.
The physical and emotional stamina required for that, while dealing with the deteriorating 4-year relationship behind the scenes, is just unbelievable.
Truly. And she has a new original studio album coming out in August 2026. Plus, a massive solo concert at the Goyang Sports Complex main stadium in September.
Not to mention, she just wrapped filming Perfect Crown and 21st Century Grand Prince's Wife. She is booked and busy.
And Lee Jong Suk is too. He's making his highly anticipated return to the screen in a Disney Plus global release called The Remarried Empress.
Yes, playing Prince Heinrey. And in a wild fantasy twist, his character actually has the magical ability to transform into a bird.
Wait, a bird? That is a massive swing from his gritty role in Big Mouth.
It really is. So both of them are clearly coping by throwing themselves entirely into their craft.
Hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update on IU's comeback or Lee Jong Suk's next era.
If we connect their upcoming schedules to the psychological picture we discussed, it's almost poetic. They are diving headfirst into constructing brand new fictional narratives for their audiences to consume.
Going right back to work feeding the para-intimate machine, it really is poetic and a little bit tragic, which leaves us with a final lingering thought.
Yeah, what are you thinking?
We started this deep dive talking about how this felt like the heartbreaking finale of a K-drama. But if our connection to our biases is built on digital intimacy and carefully constructed fantasies, does the end of a real-life fairy tale romance like IU and Lee Jong Suk's force us to mourn their relationship? Or does it actually force us to mourn the mirror it held up to our own impossible ideals of love?
You've been listening to Starscope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.